There comes a time in a chosen one's life when silence speaks louder than words, and peace becomes far more intimidating than rage. You no longer chase validation, revenge, or approval. You simply know that knowing carries weight, because it is the calm before the storm. The most dangerous type of chosen one isn't loud or chaotic. They're grounded, discerning, and guided by divine purpose. They understand their power, and they don't waste it proving themselves to those who underestimate them. Their very presence unsettles falsehood, because truth radiates from them like fire. People can't explain it, they just feel it. And that feeling is both divine and dangerous. Before we dive into the 9 signs, make sure you subscribe if you resonate with messages of spiritual awakening, inner power, and divine purpose. This channel was created for souls like you, the awakened, the misunderstood, the chosen. And if you've received this message at the exact moment you needed it, type 1111 in the comment section. That number is a divine code of alignment, a sign from the universe that your path is unfolding exactly as it should. Now, let's uncover the truth. The 9 signs that you are the most dangerous kind of chosen one, the kind no one dares to test. 1. Your silence is louder than words. You used to defend yourself. You used to explain, argue, and try to make others see your heart. But now, you've realized silence is your greatest weapon. You've learned that your energy doesn't need to be wasted convincing anyone who's already decided to misunderstand you. There was a time when being misunderstood hurt you deeply, when you felt that silence meant surrender, or that not speaking up meant you'd lose your power. But you've come to see the opposite is true. Silence is not weakness, it is strength refined. It is the sacred art of letting truth speak for itself. When you go quiet, the atmosphere shifts. The stillness you carry becomes a mirror, and people start to feel the weight of their own actions because your silence reflects back their guilt, insecurity, and envy. You no longer argue because energy never lies. The ones who tried to twist your words can no longer twist your vibration. In a world obsessed with noise and validation, your silence becomes revolutionary. It unsettles those who thrive on drama and confusion. It reminds them that peace is power. You've mastered the art of restraint, and that makes you untouchable. The dangerous chosen one doesn't roar, they whisper through stillness, and even that whisper echoes louder than 1,000 shouts. 2. You've mastered emotional detachment. You once cared deeply about who stayed or left, who loved you or betrayed you. You carried the weight of everyone's approval on your shoulders, believing that loyalty meant holding on even when it hurt. But time and divine awakening has taught you otherwise. You've reached a sacred place of emotional neutrality where you no longer chase closure or validation. You can walk away without bitterness, forgive without returning, and let go without resentment. That confuses people who expect emotional chaos or dramatic endings. They don't understand that silence doesn't always mean you don't care. Sometimes it means you've evolved. Detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. You've realized that peace costs more than people's opinions, and freedom is found in letting go of attachments that drain your soul. Emotional detachment is your spiritual armor. It shields you from manipulation, from guilt, from being pulled into cycles that no longer match your vibration. You've stopped trying to control outcomes, trusting instead that what is meant for you will stay effortlessly. You've learned that love doesn't need to cling, and endings don't always mean loss. Sometimes they mean divine redirection. You've become emotionally sovereign, and nothing is more threatening to dark forces than someone who cannot be controlled through emotion. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer chase, you attract. You've found stillness in detachment, and that stillness is your superpower. 3. You don't seek revenge, you let karma do its work. Once upon a time, you wanted to prove a point. You wanted to show those who wronged you that they couldn't play with your heart and walk away untouched. But somewhere along your spiritual evolution, You learned that vengeance is a burden too heavy for divine souls to carry. You've seen what happens when you try to fight battles meant for God. It drains your spirit and delays your blessings. So now, you observe. You move on. You release control and trust the cosmic order that never fails to balance itself. Your silence becomes your strength, and your calmness becomes your revenge. Because, while others are busy plotting, you're busy prospering. While they gossip, you grow. You've seen the universe handle matters in ways far beyond human calculation. You understand that divine justice is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. You've learned to let people experience the lessons they've earned, not the mercy they've manipulated. And the irony? Your peace haunts them. Your absence becomes your judgment. People who wronged you soon realize that when you walk away, divine retribution walks in. They lose sleep trying to understand how you keep winning after everything they did. But what they don't know is that your forgiveness was your weapon. Because when you released them, heaven took over the fight. You no longer need revenge. Your blessings are proof that karma remembers your name. 4. You carry the energy of a spiritual warrior. Even without trying, your energy commands respect. You don't walk in fear, you walk in awareness. There's something sacred in your gaze, a quiet authority that makes even the unspoken feel known. You've survived storms that others couldn't stand in for a second, and that survival has forged a light in your eyes that unsettles darkness. You don't boast about your strength because it was born in secret battles. The kind no one saw, the kind you fought on your knees. You've walked through fire, not to burn others, but to learn how to shine. Darkness recognizes when a warrior has entered the room. You don't have to raise your voice to be felt. Your energy does the speaking. You've learned that the most powerful warriors don't fight for ego, they fight for peace. You no longer battle with words or fists. You fight with frequency, intention, and prayer. You've discovered that energy is your sword, and truth is your shield. You can stand still and still shake the atmosphere because your spirit carries divine voltage. When you pray, things move. When you speak, realms listen. You've become a vessel of sacred power, disciplined by pain and trained by divine fire. That's why no one truly wants to test your wrath. It's not human rage they'd face, it's divine retribution cloaked in serenity. 5. You've seen the darkness and made peace with it. You've walked through the valley where light seemed to vanish. You've been tested in silence, betrayed by those you trusted, and stripped of everything that once defined you. Yet, through it all, you refused to let bitterness harden your heart. You didn't escape the darkness, you faced it. You met the parts of yourself that society teaches you to hide. You stared into your fears, your doubts, your shadows, and whispered, "I still choose light." That kind of courage terrifies people, because they're still running from their own reflection. You, on the other hand, have embraced yours. You understand that true divinity isn't found in pretending to be perfect, but in integrating both your shadow and your shine. You've seen the battlefield within and learned that peace is not the absence of war, it's mastery over it. You've fallen apart and rebuilt yourself from the ashes, with a new kind of grace, the kind that only pain can teach. You no longer fear the dark because you've realized it was never your enemy, it was your teacher. You've been through hell and still chosen to love, to hope, to believe. That's why your light is different. It's not naive, it's earned. You've made peace with your duality, you've seen hell, and you've built a home in heaven anyway. That's what makes your energy so powerful. It's whole, balanced, and eternal. 6. Your energy exposes the truth effortlessly. Wherever you go, masks fall. You don't have to accuse anyone, point fingers, or raise your voice. The truth simply unveils itself around you. Your presence carries a vibration that cannot coexist with deceit. You make liars stutter, manipulators retreat, and pretenders reveal their intentions without you saying a word. It's not that you expose people intentionally, it's that your energy is pure, and purity makes anything false uncomfortable. You carry what mystics call the frequency of truth. Your aura doesn't match with hidden motives, so those with them feel uneasy in your presence. They either love you for the light you carry, or resent you for the reflection you bring. You've noticed how certain people reveal their real nature when you enter the room. That's because your energy acts like a mirror, reflecting what's been concealed. The dangerous chosen one doesn't fight darkness, they simply illuminate it. And when the light shines, shadows panic. People who once pretended to be allies show their envy, and those who once hid behind smiles begin to crumble under the weight of your authenticity. You've realized you don't need to speak to be heard, your spirit does the talking. The truth has a vibration, and you carry it effortlessly. That's why people either feel healed or exposed around you, because you don't just enter rooms, you shift them. 7. You're guided, not driven. The ordinary person moves through life trying to prove something, chasing titles, validation, and material success. But you, chosen one, move differently. You are not driven by the ego's hunger, you are guided by divine wisdom. You've learned to trust your inner compass, that subtle whisper from the unseen realms that tells you when to pause, when to move, and when to let go. You no longer chase after opportunities. You attract them through alignment. You understand that what's meant for you flows naturally, without force or struggle. That confuses people who believe success must come through constant striving. They can't understand how doors open for you without knocking, how you arrive at places without rushing, but it's because your steps are ordered. You've surrendered to divine timing, the most powerful force in existence. You listen to intuition more than instruction. You've learned to wait when others panic, and to act when others hesitate. And in that rhythm of surrender, everything unfolds in perfect harmony. Your moves look effortless, but they are divinely orchestrated. People mistake your calm for complacency, not realizing it's sacred strategy. You don't operate from ambition anymore. You move from vision. You're guided by something higher, and that's what makes you unstoppable. You don't compete because your lane is divine. Every delay, every redirection, every detour has been part of the map designed for your ascension. You're guided, not driven. And that's what makes you dangerous to those still enslaved by fear and illusion. 8. You radiate unapologetic authenticity. You've stopped dimming your light to fit into spaces built for smaller souls. There was a time when you softened your voice, hid your gifts, or pretended to be less than divine just to be accepted. But that version of you no longer exists. You've realized that authenticity is your anointing, and every time you tried to suppress it, your spirit suffered. So now, you show up as your full self, unfiltered, unbothered, and unapologetic. You speak truth even when your voice shakes. You live in alignment with your essence, not people's expectations. That alone separates you from the masses, because most people are still performing, but you're simply being. Your presence alone dismantles illusions. Your honesty burns through pretense. People can feel your realness. It's raw, magnetic, and healing. You're not here to please, you're here to awaken. Your confidence isn't arrogance, it's divine remembrance. You remember who you are. You've accepted your light, and that makes you a threat to every system built on conformity. You no longer seek permission to exist in your full power, you grant yourself that permission daily. When a chosen one lives authentically, their life becomes a testimony, a declaration that truth will always outshine imitation. And those who once doubted you now have to face the uncomfortable truth. You were never trying to fit in. You were born to stand out. 9. You carry the wrath of divine protection. The most dangerous chosen ones aren't the loudest, flashiest, or most visible. They're the ones heaven personally guards. You've faced battles that should have destroyed you, yet here you are, standing with grace that defies logic. You know it wasn't luck. It was divine protection. Angels have fought for you in realms unseen. You've been covered in seasons where others fell. You felt invisible hands pulling you from places that could have ended your destiny. There's a reason why every weapon formed against you failed, because divine law defends those who walk in purpose. When people come against you, strange things happen. Their peace leaves, confusion enters, and what they built on falsehood begins to crumble. Not because you cursed them, but because divine justice responds automatically to energy. You are protected by spiritual contracts older than this lifetime. You've learned that vengeance isn't yours to seek, because heaven handles your enemies better than you ever could. The storm sent to drown you only trained your wings. Now you walk with silent authority, knowing that every battle was already won before it began. You've seen divine intervention too many times to doubt it. The universe itself fights for you, shifting timelines, moving people, closing doors, and opening others, all to ensure your destiny unfolds. You carry the wrath of divine protection, not wrath born of anger, but of righteousness. That's why no one should ever test your peace, because what protects you is not human, it's heavenly. This is the Chosen Seer channel. If this message resonated with your soul, it's not by chance, it's divine alignment. You're awakening into the fullness of your power, the kind that doesn't need validation or fear anyone's opinion. Remember, being the most dangerous type of chosen one doesn't mean you harm, it means you heal, protect, and transform. So, if this found you at the right time, type 1111 in the comments for divine blessings. Your angels are watching, your path is protected, and your silence carries thunder. Thank you for watching.